1, 2, is this on?
And now, coming to you live on NewAgeInsiders.com.
We are the premier place for wrestling fans to connect, discuss, and to be heard.
Please welcome Jason Maltoff.
We watch wrestling to enjoy. If you're not enjoying it, why are you watching?
Liam Stryker.
If I told you once, I told you 1,000 times. Storytelling, storytelling, storytelling.
And Bill Neville.
Unpredictability is the answer. When wrestling's unpredictable, it's at its best.
Get ready.
This is Warbeard Hansen. This is Johnny Mundo.
This is Donovan Dijak.
Say hello to the bad guy, Scott Hall.
This is Mean Gene Okerlund.
This is Zack Ryder.
Hey, this is Cody Rhodes.
Hi, this is Howard Finkel.
Hi, this is good old JR Jim Ross. I'm Bill Goldberg, and the New Age Insiders are next.
Well, we knew that this was going to happen.
Just let him dance.
I know.
With the beer. How professional.
I know. We have cameras now.
Unbelievable.
Doesn't matter.
He's living the high life.
It's Goldberg time.
We knew this was coming. Who cares?
It is the best day ever. Best show already. A glorious day in the annals of pro wrestling as one of the biggest. We're not doing that quite yet. Wait, did somebody say
Oh, Jesus.
anals already?
Really?
We'll get to-
You
I'm-
did.
I'm going to poke around a little bit later in those anals, but one of the greatest stars, one of the biggest draws and attractions in one of wrestling's most crucial time periods has not only capped off his career in WWE with a Universal Championship and a main event appearance at WrestleMania, but he is now going to be enshrined into the WWE Hall of Fame forever and ever and ever and ever. It is no longer one of those fringe, ooh, maybe he'll get in one day, I mean, he's close and all that. No, he had a Hall of Fame career, he had a Hall of Fame ending, and soon in New Orleans, Louisiana, I will watch William Jefferson Clinton Goldberg stand on. I don't know what his middle name is. I probably should. It's Ulysses.
I think it's
That's
better
the most
that
shocking
you don't.
part.
It's,
You don't.
It's Ulysses. And I will.
It's better that you
And
don't.
one of the biggest stars in the history of professional wrestling will headline the WWE Hall of Fame, and I will be there, and you should be there, and we'll all
won't
be
be
there
there.
in spirit, and Goldberg will be there, and we're gonna
I
talk
hope
about
Goldberg will be there.
Me too. Well, there was a point in time where we weren't even sure if he would show up if they put him in. So now we know that he probably will. And Bill Goldberg is a WWE Hall of Famer. It's funny, about 2 weeks ago we talked about what we thought and speculated as to what our WWE 2018 Hall of Fame class might look like, and Goldberg was obviously an easy choice. Kind of falls into the line of Sting. But yeah, I thought that he very well could and should headline this class. I'm glad that he is and was and did and will.
Sure.
And I'm very, very, very excited. Also, the return right now on Raw this very week, we had the odds-on favorite right now to be the returning superstar of the year.
Yep.
With the curb stomp.
Yeah.
That is back. Seth Rollins has made Finn Balor black out. From what I understand now, it's not only back, but it's called the blackout. So it's
that's what it was in
right in Ring of Honor,
which is what I've been saying for forever. If you were afraid, and we'll get to it, but if you were afraid that they were going to look at the curb stomp and they were going to look at the curb stomp and they were going to hear that and you were going to Google it and American History X was going to pop out,
yeah,
you should have just kept it as the blackout.
Right, just call it the black. Just right, call it the blackout or call it something else. I don't care. Lights out. How cool would it have been if after he broke up with after he hit everybody with a chair, it was called like the Shield Breaker. We could have done anything we wanted to, but it's back. I think it's here to stay too. He tweeted like, "Welcome back, old friend." So some people were saying, and we'll talk about that as well. It's just going to be kind of like a big match, got to finish you off, big time finisher thing, like how sometimes The Undertaker in the mid-90s, late 90s would use a choke slam and not the tombstone,
Yeah.
and the tombstone was kind of like the I got to put you away thing. Is that what we're in store for? I don't know. We'll find out, but we're going to talk all about the return of the Blackout. I popped like out of my chair. You were there. The cat ran out of the room.
Yeah.
It was it was a great moment, and I think it's going to be great for Seth Rollins, so we'll talk all about it. Also, the odds, speaking of odds, to win the Royal Rumble as we sit today, when we record this show, it is January 17th. The odds to win the 2018 Royal Rumble as we sit might surprise you. We're going to talk about who right now the weirdest thing in the world, the betting odds on pro wrestling are to win the 2018 Royal Rumble. And we're going to talk about, we're going to the Royal Rumble. The guys from the Rant with Ant will be at the Royal Rumble. The guys from the Shattered Glass Cast will be at the Royal Rumble. We know that a bunch of people from the neighborhood are going to be at the Royal Rumble. If you're on the fence, go to the Royal Rumble, a historic one with the Women's Royal Rumble match. We're going to be there. We have a big group hangout planned. We'll let you know as soon as everything is kind of signed, sealed, delivered. We'll let you guys know exactly where to be and where to meet us. But we're really looking forward to it. And it's going to be a big Rumble. But again, the person that was we sit today, the favorite to win the Men's Royal Rumble, may very well just surprise you. And we're going to talk all about that too. And stick around if you're a Patreon, because the Patreon exclusive only show, we're going to be talking about Raw 25, our favorite moments from Raw, what we think about WWE, the final poll the fans selected for the top 5 moments in Raw, and one Mr. Charles Montgomery Punk, who is now the number 2 placeholder for Raw moments all time with the pipe bomb. We will talk about how we feel about CM Punk 4 years later, his place in history. Is he coming back? The fact that the pipe bomb was the number 2 moment. Should it have been higher? Should it have been lower? All things CM Punk and the Raw 25 moments will be an exclusive part of our Patreon package. You can sign up right now, even during this show if you want to. You go to patreon.com, search New Age Insiders. You can sign up today. You'll hear the show. All the backlogged content is up there as well, so you can dive right in. It's kind of like how, you know how your friends say, there's this awesome show, and you're like, all right, well, I haven't watched it yet. And it goes, that no problem. There's already 3 seasons on Netflix. So you can start now, backlog this thing, catch up, and you're actually, people are jealous of those. You know what I mean? Like when people like you haven't watched The Office.
No.
You know, so it's like you haven't seen season 3 of The Office. I'm sort of, as much as I've loved the fact that I've seen season 3 of The Office 55,000 times, I'm a little jealous of you for getting to watch it for the first time, an experience I'll never have again. So it's kind of like that if you become a Patreon. And we really do appreciate the support. It goes a very long way in making sure we can keep this crazy animal going. By the way, if you're tuning in for the first time, if you click some links, if you heard about the show, we get new followers every week and new listeners too. Well, we appreciate it and welcome. My name is Jason Maltov.
I'm Liam Strager.
And I'm Bill Neville.
And we are the New Age Insiders. You can find us on Twitter. Please do, including during this broadcast. We're live for a reason every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock on newageinsiders.com. We're at New Age Insiders, at Liam and AI, at Bill Neville, NAI. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe, comment wherever you're downloading this show. iTunes, Podomatic, Lork Normal, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play. We're also available and live right now as we speak on YouTube and Twitch. So make sure you go to twitch.com, twitch.tv.com/New Age Insiders Pop. We're also on YouTube Live, so we're YouTube/New Age Insiders. Make sure you subscribe. We're going to be downloading and uploading a bunch of content to the New Age Insiders YouTube channel throughout the year, including live streaming these shows. We're going to be live streaming Be Nerd. There's a lot that's going to be happening on the New Age Insiders Pop channel. G-Rod brings G-Rod brings songs for the moment. Video game streams. Cool, Calm and Collected from Ant from the Rant with Ant is all funneled through New Age Insiders Pop, with even a lot more to come. That movie show was streamed recently, which was awesome, or available up on...
It's everything. It's everywhere we got
So whatever we Twitch, whatever we record, we will Twitch. So we highly encourage you guys to download, subscribe, join in however you can. The biggest goal that we have this year is to make sure that whatever platforms you're using, we jump on and make this experience as easy to find and enjoyable as possible. And why? Because altogether we're the premier place for wrestling fans to connect, discuss, and to be heard. It is no mystery, if you're a longtime fan of the New Age Insiders Wrestling Show, that my favorite dude, my guy, is Bill Goldberg. For all sorts of reasons, some of them wrestling, a lot of them not even wrestling. I'm not going to get into it. Just makes everybody cry. I already did it. Bill will tell you whichever episode the hell it is. You can find it yourself. Everybody wants to cry cry while I talk about why Bill Goldberg's my hero. That's fine. But this is a special day for me and for him. It's validating. Again, this is like, there was a point, I mean, like a year ago. I mean, I remember being in Brooklyn with you, and he didn't come out at SummerSlam 2016, was it? Mm-hmm. And it was just like, he's really not coming back, is he? And everybody was like, no, he's really not. And then he just did. You know what I mean? He just did. And it's, for me as a fan of his, you know, I'm not going to gush about this. Doesn't have to take a ton of time. But
we're 15 minutes in.
Well, we had
to.
We did the intro. We had to do the whole thing. But this is validating for me because he went from a guy that left the business that, you know, with a lot of stains, right? Whether it be Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 20 being his last match, which was a stink clunker. I mean, I vividly remember the first time we interviewed him on this show that he gave us a call and we interviewed him, and I said, what do you want your legacy to be? And like before I was done, he said, I really hope it's not Brock at WrestleMania. You know what I mean? And now when I say Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg at WrestleMania, like that alone, like there's something so beautifully full circle about the whole thing that when he came to WWE, he was perceived to be a jerk, didn't get along with anybody, had a title reign that not a ton of people felt good about, left after WrestleMania on terrible terms, right? Now he came back and was perceived as a great guy that everybody got along with and really enjoyed spending time with. He had a run that people were excited about. He won a championship people felt good about. He had a match with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania he can feel good about, and he left on great terms after WrestleMania when he came and did the dark speech after the Raw after Mania where he said, you know, love me or hate me, I made you make some noise, and I think I made my mark in this business. And everybody gave him a standing ovation, and he bowed. And in everything that was bad about his career, or at least the WWE part, was completely washed clean. It's unbelievable. Right. There's direct parallels to everything. Everything bad has a reconciliation point. And I think no matter if you like Bill Goldberg, the performer, the character, if you're never into it, you didn't like the streak, you didn't like the guy, whatever, I think bigger picture than that, I would hope that you would appreciate this story of redemption of a guy that did win 3 world titles that spanned 3 different decades. Not a lot of people can say they did that, right? He was walked into the main event of Starrcade, the WCW champion, and the main event of WrestleMania with a WWE Heavyweight Championship. Not a lot of people can say they did that. He beat Brock Lesnar on TV in 2017. Not a lot of people can say they did that. Or 2016, right? Does that have... Yeah,
yes.
2016. Yep. Not a lot of people can say they did that. In fact, nobody has been able to say they did that in like 5 years since Triple H or something crazy, right? So there's a big picture here that the guy's a Hall of Famer, and he carried the torch at a big time for a company that had no business being in first place, and that guy was one of the big reasons that company that shouldn't have been winning was winning. He's a big part of that, as big as anybody individually. Hogan, Sting, Flair, Bischoff's mouth, any one individual factor, Goldberg's as big a part of that factor, and he belongs in this Hall of Fame. It's a great story. I am thrilled for him. The tickets go on sale Friday. I am going to get as close as humanly possible. I'm not going to, I'm so excited and happy for him. And
just don't get arrested.
I won't, but I'm it's going to be a big thing for all of us. I'm going to cry. I'm going to Periscope my crying and then get kicked out because I'm sure that somebody's going to be like, security guards is going to come down to my section and go, who is the hysterical woman that everybody is reporting? And then I'll get thrown out of the building.
No, they're going to come down and see you periscoping and throw you out of the building.
Well, that too, but I'll Periscope the whole thing. The weeping,
sure.
The not being welcomed back, all of it. It'll be great. No, I'm kidding, but I'm really happy for him, the guy, the performer. It's awesome. That's what I think about Bill Goldberg in the Hall of Fame.
Great. So it's time for our first commercial break.
What do you think about Bill Goldberg in the Hall of Fame?
I think it's well deserved. I think that he was a Hall of Famer before he came back. I feel like we needed to have the run at the this past run because it didn't end well But just because the relationship didn't end well doesn't make all of the happy moments less meaningful. And that's how I felt about Goldberg before Survivor Series. So, him just coming back and holding a world title, which I didn't think was on the table. But then again, the WrestleMania before that, Triple H won his 14th world title.
Yeah, but Bill Goldberg flipping did it.
Right. So,
Triple H could win the belt tomorrow if he wanted to. Like, flipping Goldberg won the belt.
Right.
In 2017.
The bigger shocker was the Brock loss going to, like, the pinned loss going to Goldberg. I think that was the bigger.
He's such an unstoppable monster that we had to keep him in a shack.
Right.
Or what was it?
2K did. The 2K kept him in a hatch.
We had to keep him in a hatch.
They kept him in a hatch.
And it had to be blown up with dynamite.
Right.
Just a couple quick follow-up questions because I know there's bigger things on the table, and I don't have to just gush all about Goldberg, and we'll talk about the Hall of Fame. And if you're going to New Orleans, please go to the Hall of Fame. I can't wait to go there. And if you're interested, the tickets go on sale Friday. So if you're listening to this and you're going to New Orleans and you might be interested in sitting together, let me know, and if we can get a group together, that might change things. If it's only like one or two of you, maybe not, because I'm just going to try to get like the absolute mathematical closest to him. But if it's a big enough group, then I would love to sit with like a group of people. So we'll talk about it if you're going to go to the Hall of Fame in New Orleans and watch a grown man cry when Bill Goldberg gets in. Just real quick, just some follow-up things just about it. Who do you have induct him?
It's really tough because I don't know if there's anybody that really makes sense. Maybe Sting or Paige, because they were the guys that found him in the gym.
Yeah, there's no like arch nemesis because I don't think Nash makes sense. It almost should be Brock Lesnar.
Right, but Brock Lesnar I don't think should do it because it doesn't feel right for him.
Eric Bischoff will just call him WCW's greatest creation.
Yeah.
And be out there to do it for him.
Yeah, the answer's Paige.
The answer's me. I should induct Bill Goldberg into the WWE Hall of Fame.
Yeah, sure.
I should do it. I should be the one to induct William Jefferson Clinton Goldberg into the annals of the World Wrestling Federation Entertainment Hall of Fame.
Fun fact, his nickname is actually, his middle name is actually Scott.
Okay.
William Scott Goldberg.
Yeah, but I wish it was Michael Scott Goldberg. How great would that be?
Well, then his first name would have to be Michael.
Yeah, well, things can change. But I am we could have two middle names, like a rich person. But I'm really excited for him. And just real quick, who's the biggest WCW name left now? Because he was definitely
Diamond Dallas Page.
He's just winning last year.
No, he went in last year.
Yeah,
That's
Page
right.
is in. I now believe
Bischoff.
The answer's Bischoff.
What about wrestlers? Because that's a great name. I mean, you're right. But what about wrestlers? I've got one, and I think it's the last one. I think to be fair,
Vader.
Yes, that's
Vader?
the one. That's the name. Because with Goldberg and then certainly with Vader, we're now going to be done with like the must-haves: Sting, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Goldberg, Diamond Dallas Page. I mean, now you're getting into Scott Steiner territory.
Scott Steiner, Billy Kidman. I mean, Rey Mysterio.
Rey Mysterio but Rey Mysterio is one of those tricky guys that actually wound up spending more time in WWE than WCW.
Right.
I'm talking about the guys like Page, Sting, and Goldberg who basically got in because of WCW. Yeah. Vader would be the last of the egregious names.
Right.
And even he split so much time.
Because you look at it and it's like, well, names that kind of come to mind are, is Bam Bigelow's not in, right?
Now, when Bam Bam's more of an ECW guy.
Yeah, but Bam Bam.
Dean Malenko.
Bam Bam would get in the ECW Hall of Fame before the WCW Hall of Fame.
Right.
Dean Malenko's a good name. Dean Malenko's a name that belongs in the Hall of Fame. There's zero sex appeal about it.
Yeah, right. Because again, Billy Kidman. I think Billy Kidman.
Shout out to Todd Schwab sending the picture of his red New Age Insiders vintage wrestling sweatshirt.
Oh, fun! Was that on Twitter?
Yeah, that's on Twitter. So
I'm gonna check that out.
Thank you so much. We really do appreciate that,
know what
man.
we should
I still don't have one.
I'm looking at it on the screen. I'm looking at it on the screen, and we should release the T-shirt because I was wearing it when we went to over the weekend. But
we went to Wrestling Has a Tomorrow.
The old block letter shirt, the one that says in the parking reserve sign over your head.
Yeah.
We should release that shirt now that we don't have to print it. We should just throw that up as like a retro shirt.
We could do that. You know what I mean? Because we don't have to actually make them ahead of time.
And if you guys have any ideas on merch, just definitely shoot us a message.
We're just thinking out loud at this point.
Yeah.
But I think it's Big Van Vader is like the last big name from WCW. And with all due respect, because Vader was all over the place, it's not the level. It's just like when you think about WCW, right?
We hit all of them.
Flair, Hogan, Sting, Goldberg, Page,
like
Booker T. We're
Conan.
done. Yeah, but come on.
But I would put him in if
I'd
we're
put Luger in before Conan.
right.
Luger won a belt.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Luger's a WWE champion.
Yeah.
And Luger's a WCW champion and one half of a Royal Rumble winner.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'd put in Lex Luger before flipping Conan. You know what I mean? And
But if Scott Steiner was to go in, which if we're counting WCW credentials,
I bet they do the Steiner brothers and just sort of
that would be way better.
and just gloss over a lot of the solo Scott Steiner stuff.
Well,
I
it's
mean,
so
anything with the chainmail hat. I don't think we need to talk much about, right?
Right. You know, it's unfortunate because I mean he gets a bad rap about a lot of stuff, but
Yeah, because his work is on film.
yeah, but it's like
That's why.
the not wrestling end of things, he had to shoulder the end of that company. You know, when they didn't have anything. It's very similar to how EC3 was good, but they also didn't have anybody anymore.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, of course you got to shoulder the load. So it's like,
Yeah.
you know,
But Scott Steiner was just juice. He was just a
Yeah.
steroid human person, man.
right, and they played into that a lot better than the WWE did.
Yeah. So speaking of big names and big stars and big returns that make you feel good about the whole thing all over again, what a big moment on Monday Night Raw. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that was a really big moment on Monday Night Raw when Seth Rollins busted out the blackout curb stomp, now the blackout again, on Finn Balor. You saw I popped hard. You popped hard. TK sent us a message. He goes, he popped. Everybody
did.
It was really exciting. Like one of the more it's crazy how it doesn't take much, but sometimes people are just looking for certain things, and when they finally get them, it's almost because it's so unexpected that it's so good. And that's what I think this was with the curb stomp. I thought it was awesome. I'm glad to see it back. There was instantly people DMing us and tweeting us going, did he just screw up? Did he just do something he wasn't supposed to do? Is he
I thought he did.
Is he in a lot of trouble? No way. Balor,
Oh no! It like when it plays out fully, yeah, it was done on purpose. But when he first hit it, the look on his face of pure shock looked like somebody who was like roughhousing with their sister, got mad, hit them, and then was just like, "Oh no, I messed up."
Right, yeah. I agree, but at the same time, then like the amount of trouble that guy would have got in is so enormous. And then Finn Balor was totally ready to take it. You know what I mean? He was ready to take it home.
Oh, the whole thing. I mean, clearly you don't talk about that spot behind Vince's back and then not like, you know what I mean? Like that's not
that was supposed to happen. Even if he like Finn Balor would be in a lot of trouble too, because Balor was ready to take it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
right.
Whatever. It's back. It's awesome. There's certain things about wrestlers that you identify them with. Like some of them are cornier than others. Like I really wasn't a huge people's elbow guy. I hope that down the road, for the pure nostalgia of it, I get more into the people's elbow. But I remember having a real tough time as a kid when The Rock would beat somebody that I would prefer with a people's elbow. You know what I mean? I read one of Mick Foley's books because I read the first two. Foley is Good and Have a Nice Day. I read the first two books, and I don't remember which book it's in, but Foley was talking about how it was basically an insult to lose to the people's elbow because he's like, look, I've done Japanese death matches, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm supposed to lay here and take it for an elbow drop, and that's how you polish me off. Like, people didn't like to do it from what Foley would tell you.
well, the whole thing is it was a kitschy joke at first.
Right, and then it became the end of the match.
Right.
That's the problem. Yeah. It's like if it's John Cena, for better or worse, doesn't go to pin you after the 5-knuckle shuffle.
Right, or if he does, it's a kick out.
Right, but he like really often does it. Like that's not.
I don't think he's ever put anybody away with the 5-knuckle shuffle.
Right, whereas
outside of like one of those like, there's 15 people in these matches and we gotta get people out.
Right. Meanwhile, with The Rock, that's the thing to do. But then there's good things about it too. Is the reason I bring it up is because whenever I think of Stone Cold Steve Austin, he's doing one of three things: he's drinking beer, he's giving the finger, or he's giving the Stone Cold Stunner. And the Stone Cold Stunner, like, don't get me wrong, the packaging of Stone Cold Steve Austin of being a no rules, screw you ass kicker, beating up his boss on TV every day, we'd never seen anything like it. That guy was going to be popular even if his finisher was a $1 million dream. You know what I mean?
Right.
But the stunner was so awesome and added a ton to his appeal, I think. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It was something to look forward to. I remember when I saw him in Dallas with you guys, I wanted to watch him stun somebody. It was a big,
that's all we wanted.
it was a big part of Stone Cold Steve Austin's identity and pop factor and who he is. And there's little things like, so the curb stomp being back for Seth Rollins, I think, adds a tremendous amount to his packaging and his appeal, and the fact that there's something to look forward to and it's different. And even if you don't necessarily sit down and look forward to the curb stomp, I think across the board the thing we saw from fans was everything else wasn't working. The pedigree didn't work, and once he broke away from Triple H, it made no sense, and especially since Triple H is still so active that it's not like Triple H gave it to him or he took it from him. Triple H will still do a pedigree on TV all the time too, and Triple H's is a lot better. So that was a poor choice. Then the Rain trigger, right? The elbow, like
the Rainmaker V trigger,
right? Was just it's not good enough to like. That's not good enough.
He doesn't execute it well enough,
right? Nor do I think it's a WWE finisher because, you know.
Well, the thing is that like
I hated it.
Yeah, right. There wasn't the pomp and circumstance of the Rainmaker, and he didn't hit you as hard as the V trigger. So having those two moves just kind of get mashed up into one, he didn't execute it well.
Yeah, and I think the roster was really apprehensive to take it the way it needed to be taken to have it look as good. Well,
Right.
and I'm not even throwing shade on the guy, but I mean, yeah, Seth Rollins throws a knee at your face, and maybe you're a little scared. Wink, wink. But it's the better move, and the problem is. We talked about this before when we've talked about Seth Rollins. Talk about just fixing things that aren't broken. You know, and of all the things in this company that might need to get addressed and stuff, and it's just like, well, the kids might be able to do it at home. And that's code for, I don't want you to Google it and see American History X, but look at what we arrived at 3 years later is they just changed the name of the move.
Right.
You know what I mean? It just, that we're done. Because like I've said to you before, like, I see more stories about kids getting all messed up and hurt and seriously injured with clotheslines and power bombs and DDTs.
Yeah.
You know what I
mean? The
mean?
last time that we heard in the news that some kid died from a wrestling move was a power bomb.
But Scotty Slade told, because when he and I had our debate on the Inside Perspective, you know,
is that the rest in peace?
Well, now that's for the Pops.
And you're just not on it.
Jamie stole my co-host. But he told me all the time that the curb stomp is actually really safe if done properly. You know what I mean? And I believe him, and it looks good. And it's got. Here's the thing: like, what's one of the biggest appeals of the stunner? Out of nowhere. What's the RKO? Out of nowhere, right? The fact that dude. And here's another thing: the fact that dude could run down the ramp at WrestleMania 31 and just spike you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's super exciting. And also, footnote, welcome back footage of the way WrestleMania 31 ended.
Yeah, right.
Welcome back into our worlds, right? We can show that again?
We can now show that again.
Right, we're going to do that again. Now we can show you that Roman Reigns didn't just fall down and Seth Rollins pinned him. You know what I mean? That we can actually show the damn thing, which is great. And look, I'm all for, like, kids don't kill yourself. And if one child is alive today because they took a break from the curb stomp, then it was worth it. And all those things you need to hear to make it a PC, overly sensitive world, fine, whatever. But at the same time, this is stupid because the reality is what my responsibility as a wrestling promotion is to go, don't do this at home. I'll send John Cena out there. Who are your heroes, kids? And they'll look you in the eye and go, don't do this,
in
idiot.
the Attitude Era, they had every single wrestler saying, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this.
All the
home.
time. They had that really, it stuck with you. It was just a montage of all the injuries that made the guys miss time.
Right.
So you knew they were real. And it's just like, look what happened to all these guys. What chance do you have? Don't do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so my responsibility is to go, don't do this. And I'm serious. Like, don't do this. We never accept touts of you going through a table at home, right? You know what I mean? So don't do this. And RIP tout. Or is it coming back?
I have no idea. I don't know if it ever
Have
left.
you heard anything?
No,
the partnership ended at least.
Vine is back. Who knows? But my job is to tell you not to be an idiot and don't do this at home. And if you're an idiot and do this at home, that's kind of where my job ends. That's on your parents. That's on Darwinism. You know what I mean? If you're an idiot.
Which, speaking of Darwinism, can we talk about the Tide Pod Challenge real quick?
It's not a real thing.
It's not a real thing. I'm pretty sure this is what an urban legend looks like in 2018.
See, I can't. That was the thing I told you. I can't find a video of it.
Right.
I think it was a grand scheme by Tide.
No,
No,
I think some.
no,
I think that there was just
it was a
probably some
joke.
dude from what I've heard. You know that like meme of like two unbelievably white people and like the guy's like gonna feed the white and like the girl something and it's probably like a strawberry or something stupid. I don't
Right.
know. And it's like the whitest thing you'll ever see. And they and somebody like photoshopped a Tide Pod into his hand. And they were like, well, they do look like candy and they do look delicious.
Right.
And then the news was just like, oh my God, kids are eating laundry detergent. And then so I go online and I'm like, look, you may call it morbid fascination, but I'm going to watch these assholes eat laundry detergent.
Right.
And then I couldn't find anything. And I was like, wow. I went on YouTube and I told you this off the air. I go, the first, if you type in TI in YouTube, it's like Tide Pod Challenge, kids eat Tide, kids eat detergent, kids are stupid.
all of them.
Like kids are dumbasses. Like those are like the first 5 results. But none of them was actually the kids eating the Tide.
No.
And then I'm like, wow, maybe YouTube is so worried about this they've taken them all down. And then I just did a general Google search.
Yeah, and they're not there.
Nothing.
You're
Right?
right.
And maybe they're all living on Bing, but I doubt it. You know what I mean? And so I don't
Or on
think
the dark web or
and it-
4chan.
and so it's
Yeah,
like one of those
ooh.
things where it really speaks to your human nature because I'm probably a bad person because it's like on the one hand, good. Kids aren't eating laundry detergent.
Yes.
Right.
On the other hand, though, once I heard that they already had, I wanted to see it.
yeah, I wanna see it.
I wanted to see it. I wanted to
Yeah,
just watch
everybody
these,
wanted to watch that Logan Paul video.
Right. I mean, would they throw up bubbles?
Yeah.
I'm curious. You've
Yeah.
piqued my interest in
It's like
that.
Alfalfa from Little Rascals.
Well, I also remember, but like, it's just, again, all reasons to be happy that it's not true, or I think it's just one big grand hoax. But when I was a kid, my weird kid thing was, and I didn't do it, but the toothpaste I got was Aquafresh.
Yeah.
And it had the different colors.
Uh-huh.
And it looked like candy, and it looked great. Like, it looked like because, like, the red was this weird, like, gel thing, and it
Yeah,
looked like,
right.
wow, I bet that was great. But at no point did I eat the toothpaste.
Correct.
And that's toothpaste. Where if I had eaten the
Ingested
toothpaste,
it would have been okay.
everything would have been fine. You know what I mean? It's not
Right.
recommended.
Yeah,
you know
right.
what I mean?
You're not supposed to sit there and chomp
But it's
on
not like, oh, it's good to brush your teeth and get all up in your mouth with, but if you swallow it, you're probably going to die. That's not what Aquafresh is. And so I'm looking at, like, I'm thinking it is the same train of thought with, like, a generation later, right? That I looked at the toothpaste and went, yeah, it looks good, but it is toothpaste, end of story. And now kids are so much dumber one generation later that they're looking at it and going, wow, that Tide Pod looks great, and then flipping ate it?
Right.
Because that's a real possibility with how stupid kids are these days.
Right.
Kids are
It's just-
stupid.
it's just
The
insane.
average kid
I just-
under 20 is a dumbass.
I just think, like I said, I think that
average, not all of you.
yeah. I just think that it's I think it's an urban legend. I think that this is what an urban legend looks like in 2018 because
For the love of God, I hope so.
I think it sparks from the commercial. The commercial that they had was like this baby reaches in to try and eat a Tide Pod, and then when they reach in to eat the Tide Pod, the mom's like, "Oh no, don't eat that!"
Right.
And so then I think it's just like that's where it starts.
Right, but at the same time, the commercial wasn't like the baby reached for the Tide Pod. The mom went, no, and then she went and grabbed it from the baby. He's like, "This is for mommy," and then
Yeah.
she ate
Popped
it
it herself.
Right, and
Right.
then it's shame on you, Tide Pod, for being like, "This is edible detergent that I just was
Right.
trying to steal from my baby, not for its safety, but for my greed."
Yeah.
That you know what I mean? It was like a cookie where it's
Yeah.
like, no, baby, this is mommy's little escape because
Yeah,
she hates
right.
her life now because there's kids everywhere. Like I said, I'm not even trying to oversell this. The curb stomp was like, all right,
The curb stomp was a huge part of Seth Rollins' post-Shield identity, and by taking it away, it neuters his biggest career highlight moment.
Yep.
Because you don't get to show the whole moment.
Right.
Because look at how the other example would be Randy Orton. Right. We can never show Randy Orton's first title win because it's over Chris Benoit.
Right.
And that neuters that moment, and so it's
right,
the
because
same.
he beat a big name for it,
Right.
And now we can't even talk about any part of it, and I understand
Right.
why.
And so now Seth Rollins wins his first WWE championship with this epic moment from WrestleMania 31, and we have to cut around it and all this other stuff, and then it goes away. It was such a brutal and devastating move that made him feel like a champion. So for it to go away and him not to be able to use it, it neutered him, and he lost a huge part of his identity. And when he lost a huge part of his identity, his connecting factor went away, and so now he's been treading water. And shame on WWE for needlessly neutering arguably your biggest star at one point.
Well, here's the thing about Seth Rollins: Seth Rollins is maybe the most well-rounded player on the Raw roster right now. AJ Styles is just doing pretty special work. You know what I mean? So he might be as easy an answer as it is. It's also JR's answer when he said this on this show. When we asked him on this show, and so who am I to say otherwise? AJ Styles might be the best performer this company's offering you right now, but on Raw, Seth Rollins might very well be the best overall performer this company can offer you on Monday nights. And there has been something missing from him, and I'm not just talking about the curb stomp, but just in a big picture kind of way. There has been something missing for a while now with him. And I understand that knee was a big thing, and a lot of momentum went with it. And didn't he have to drop the championship?
He did.
Right? And so that always sucks, you know what I mean? And all those kind of things. Look at Finn Balor. Finn Balor's just now starting to get back on track after he blew it out. We're getting close to a year and a half ago.
Right.
But with Rollins, the frustrating part about Seth Rollins in particular was the stop-and-go-ness of Seth Rollins was picked to be the guy from The Shield. For better or worse, that's not what this show is about, this episode. But for better or worse, they were like, long-term, Seth Rollins is our new big future heel. Roman Reigns is our new big future babyface. I don't care what you think about it this week, right? It's just that's what we're doing,
right?
Okay? And that felt good because there was a connection. There's a deep-seated reason why if these two hated each other for the next 10 years, we have all the back fodder we need to make that have that make a lot of sense, right? And I also understand, based on how WWE works, why they looked at the big Samoan horse and thought babyface, and the kind of weaselly guy and thought you could be the heel in this scenario, right? I get you. The frustrating part as a fan is we were so on, like WrestleMania 31, I think tells you a big tale where we were there live. And the fun thing about this kind of particular analogy is we were all in different places in the building. So I can speak for a section of the crowd, and you can speak for a section of the crowd, and Bill can speak for a section of the crowd. So it's not just like what we can do when we go to these live events together and say, this is at least what our chunk of the audience sounded like, right? For me, what my experience was, there was a lot of apprehension. There was a lot of people that were convinced that Roman Reigns was going to win and were convinced that they didn't like it already, okay? And when Seth Rollins came in, it was like popping the cork off the champagne. It took a lot of pressure out of the room. Everybody felt better about it, even if...
It's also a cash-in.
Right, even if this was the very end of the yes movement, which it was. It was like the very end of the hope that maybe Daniel Bryan can get back to the top. It was all starting to really wrap up, right? Yeah. So maybe if you took a poll in 2015 of who you wanted most to main event WrestleMania, maybe Seth Rollins wouldn't have been number one, but he was probably much higher on the list than Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
So it just felt good, and I think everybody on the same token, everybody knew that Roman Reigns was still coming, but it didn't happen tonight, and there was going to be somebody we could get behind, the average fan could get behind, that made you feel good because it wasn't at least going to be just about Roman Reigns, right?
Right.
And then that all kind of went away after the knee, and then he came back, and he beat Hunter and literally had a torch as part of his entrance, right? Like, I'm taking the company from you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he's yet to feel like the top guy since. And I understand that it's the Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar experience on that show, but he doesn't even feel close.
Yeah.
And this is big for him because, oh my God, I unmuted my laptop. Because nobody needs to have a bigger year than Seth Rollins to me. More so than even Finn Balor. Because Finn Balor hasn't put in the time Seth Rollins has. And Finn Balor, we saw what the mountaintop looked like for a day. We know what the mountaintop looked like with Seth Rollins for a big chunk of time. And I think on this roster, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, the end, no one needs to have a bigger 2018 than Seth Rollins. And I think as we sit in the second week of January or whatever, he's very well on pace to have that. And I'm really psyched about it. I'm also psyched it's called The Blackout, and I'm just glad it's back. And it's something so silly and what would appear innocuous, but it actually turns out to be a very big deal. And I think a really good sign for him and the year that he's going to have. When we come back, we are going to talk about, speaking of Daniel Bryan, speaking of the Royal Rumble, the odds-on favorite in Vegas, the craziest thing on earth. You can bet on pro wrestling, folks. I don't understand how Vince McMahon's personal friends aren't trillionaires. The odds-on favorites to win the Royal Rumble may very well surprise you. They sure did surprise me. We're going to talk about the favorite to win the Royal Rumble and how that could possibly happen. The New Age Insiders will be right back.
I'm pro wrestler the Kingpin Brian Malonis.
And I'm referee Mike Crockett from the Wrestling Podcast About Nothing.
I spent most of my weekends half naked in front of throngs of people at VFW halls and Elks Lodges.
And I've watched, not that there's anything wrong with that, every week, listen to us tear down the curtain and tear down each other in the process.
It's the WPAN. Nothing more, nothing less.
Mondays, only on the NAI Wrestling Network.
You know the New Age Insiders Wrestling Show is the premier place for wrestling fans to connect, discuss, and to be heard.
But what if we told you that there's also a show for fans of all kinds to do the same?
That show is Late Night Liam. Show hosted by myself, Liam Stryker.
And me, Bill Neville. Join us immediately following NAI Pod every Wednesday as we dive into pop culture, sports, current events, and more.
Can't listen live? No worries. Late Night Liam can be downloaded on demand exclusively on the NAI Network channel. Available on iTunes, Stitcher, Podomatic, and all podcast platforms.
Once again, join Late Night Liam live every Wednesday following NAI Pod,
when you and fans of all kinds can connect, discuss, and be heard. Hey neighborhood, your feedback and support goes a long way in helping NAI grow and provide the ultimate wrestling fan experience. That's right, and now there's even more ways to take part in the community.
Just head to patreon.com today and search for New Age Insiders.
Everyone is loving their rewards and new exclusive content is coming all the time.
And with plans starting as low as $2 a month, any support is appreciated and goes a long way towards enhancing the New Age Insiders experience.
Once again, visit patreon.com, search New Age Insiders, and take advantage of the new rewards today.
I'm Anthony DiStefano.
I'm Glenn Rodriguez.
I'm Phil Cataldo. What do we know about wrestling?
We don't just know wrestling.
We live it.
Every week, the fans on social media disrespect each other. Welcome to the consequences.
WWE, New Japan, the Indies, we're talking about all of you.
We shield wrestling fans from injustice.
Every Friday.
On the NAI Wrestling Network.
The Hounds are here. Anthony DiStefano.
Glenn Rodriguez.
Phil Cataldo.
This is Rant with Ant.
I'm retired business executive and seasoned dad, Jamie J. Mikowski.
And I'm a rookie dad and local independent wrestler, Scotty Slade, and we're the hosts of For the Pops.
We're the only podcast on the NAI Pop Network that has a mix of sports, wrestling, and pop culture all in under an hour.
This is a place where two pops talk about the topics that interest us with a special guest in each episode.
And we have a splash of pop culture information to help us survive in our world of wives, kids, and coworkers.
And at the end of each episode, if that wasn't enough, Jamie tests both our guest and I on obscure pop culture facts in an exclusive segment called For the Pops Quiz.
So don't miss For the Pops with Scotty Slade and me, Jamie J. Mikowski, only on the NAI Pop Network.
I'm DC Matthews, the Pope of Positivity.
And I'm Doc Manson, the only actual doctor talking about wrestling on the entire internet, at least until facts prove otherwise.
And each weekend on the NAI Network, DC and Doc talk. We might talk about wrestling, but we probably won't.
Maybe I'll just eat a bowl of cereal for 30 minutes, live, on the air.
It's entirely possible.
It's happened before.
Check out DC and Doc Talk every weekend on the NAI Network.
You know, it's pretty crazy, but NAI Pod has now been downloaded on 6 continents and has thousands of weekly listeners.
Yeah, step it up, Antarctica.
Does that make us intercontinental champions?
Kinda, but it also means NAI Pod is a great way to advertise your business, brand, or website.
If you would like to advertise with the New Age Insiders, shoot us an email, newageinsiders@gmail.com.
Tap into a constantly growing audience, advertise with the New Age Insiders, and take your business to main event heights. Send your emails to newageinsiders@gmail.com. That's newageinsiders@gmail.com.
What's up, NAI Universe? Damian Salty G.
I'm Chip K-Fabe.
Along with our friend Matt McCool, and we are talking all things women's wrestling,
independent wrestling,
NXT,
as well as hot button WWE topics.
And taking your 3-count questions. The Shattered Glass Cast at Glasscast NAI.
Saturdays on the NAI Wrestling Network.
Let's get back to more of the New Age Insiders. Here's Jason Maltov, Liam Stryker, and Bill Neville.
I can't believe what I read the other day.
I can't believe you can bet on pro wrestling.
I mean,
I don't know how to do that. Oh, by the way, real quick, go to WrestlingRadioAwards.com. You can vote once a day for free. The New Age Insiders are up for Show of the Year. Again, you can vote once for free every single day, so it's not just one vote period. It's every single day. WrestlingRadioAwards.com. There's links all over our Twitter and Facebook, and please go ahead and vote for the New Age Insiders. We're just very curious to see how we land, and who knows, maybe we even win. If you vote enough times, then we sure will. WrestlingRadioAwards.com. You can go to WrestlingRadioAwards.com right now to vote for the New Age Insiders for Show of the Year. And you can go to patreon.com/New Age Insiders to join in and hear the exclusive show that we're going to be recording right after this, which is talking all about Raw 25 and including the number 2 moment, which is CM Punk's pipe bomb. We're going to give our thoughts on CM Punk with 4 years to reflect on his time away, whether or not he'll be back. All things CM Punk and the Raw 25 top 5 list will be for Patreons only following this show. Yeah, I couldn't believe it either. I think betting on pro wrestling is super duper silly, but then what you really need to do is, if you just like good old fashioned spoilers, just look what happens about 12 hours before the match, and then whatever's leading usually wins because somebody leaks something to somebody, and then you can bet on pro wrestling.
Yeah,
again,
well, there's a
subset.
subset. There's a subset of other things that you can bet on, because like you can bet on The Walking Dead, you can bet on who's going to die in The Walking Dead, and so I just don't understand.
It has to be the same laws as like insider trading and stuff. It's like if I find out that you knew and gave that information away, then you're in big trouble. You know what I mean? That's what it would have to be.
Right, but I mean, even still with like something like The Walking Dead, where it's like, yeah, they change things, or like Game of Thrones, if this character would die.
But if I read the book, I know who's going to die.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing. But the reason we bring it up is because in Vegas right now, the odds-on favorite to win the Royal Rumble, the 2018 Royal Rumble, is Daniel Bryan.
Yes.
How can that be? Why can that be?
I don't know.
Where can that be? When can that be? What can that be?
And how on earth is Daniel Bryan going to get into a title match?
I said how, Bill. Bill.
It's just it's nonsensical.
Bill, I said how.
I'm not on screen right now. I'm flipping you off.
It's Goldberg Day.
Yeah, sure. It's very weird that he in 2018 Daniel Bryan would be in the Royal Rumble, and secondly, he wouldn't have a prayer to win it.
The thing I told you off the air when you first said it to me, he didn't win the Royal Rumble he was supposed to win.
Right.
Why? Like, so here's the thing, right? In a vacuum, on paper, Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles for the WWE title sounds awesome. Nothing about this, I'm telling you, sounds like a bad idea. Nothing. So spare me you think that I'm saying that this would suck or be a bad decision or anything. I get you. But can we not agree that this would fall out of deep space?
Yeah.
I mean, for him not only to come back, I mean, when we've been talking about this over the past few months, anytime this subject comes up, it's like, what do we do with Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania if we can get a medical clearance? Some sort of multi-man thing, some sort of tag team thing, some sort of thing where he works a guy like Kurt Angle and it's not what you want it to be, but at least they're both safe. I don't know. But the idea of him winning the Royal Rumble and working AJ Styles, I mean, now hear me out. I understand how, in a world that's a lot less non-kooky than WWE, how we get there. AJ Styles feels like... So we find out that is this secret alliance that Daniel Bryan is working with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, right? Actively trying to put them over, trying to get them the title. Maybe it's not even anything personal, AJ. It's a, Ring of Honor thing, and not that time you spent there, we're not going to talk about it thing. It's just the three of us thing. Maybe that's what it is. It's collusion. There's these three guys are working together, right? and he sends Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens in a handicap match. AJ's on all the odds against him, but he prevails anyway. And between now and WrestleMania, or Jesus Christ, I don't even know, and it's crazy. We don't have enough time. The story I'm telling you is just like, and then AJ Styles is just so sick of getting screwed over that Daniel Bryan's like, well, I'll do it. And he gets in the Royal Rumble. We don't have enough time. This thing's in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I don't even know how we tell a story. How, like, and again, we're talking about the Las Vegas betting odds. So this is not like some sort of huge concrete, I'm telling you this is happening spoiler. Somebody took a picture and screenshotted the script. That's not this. But if Daniel Bryan, for him to even be in the conversation, to me is so crazy. How can this even be like close to true? To have a reasonable, intelligent conversation about Daniel Bryan winning the 2018 Royal Rumble. How can that actually be on the table?
It's weird because Daniel Bryan has been at the heart of the WWE Championship storyline leading into the Royal Rumble. He has been the reason why AJ Styles is kind of perturbed at the moment because he is the man that made the handicap championship match. So there is a little bit of animosity between the two. So the whole story would have to take place after. The thing is that you have to now speed up the timeline to heavily hint on the Go Home SmackDown, which is next week.
The next one.
So you have to heavily hint at that so that Daniel Bryan and Shane kind of come to a head, and that's why Daniel Bryan enters himself in the Royal Rumble. And
we don't have enough time to do that right.
It's just, it has to be, you have to...
He has to be, like, what we have to be doing is something so completely un-WWE-like that it's borderline shocking, which would be that Daniel Bryan is the number 30 man in this Rumble as a complete surprise. Like, we don't have enough time to tell you a story that doesn't just start with Daniel Bryan shockingly win the Rumble. If he comes out on Tuesday night and goes, you know what, Shane, for some weird reason, even though I'm sending my guys to go beat AJ Styles, and I'm sure they're going to win or whatever, and I think they're going to be champion, you know who they're going to face at WrestleMania? Me! So we control their title forever. We don't have enough time.
It has to be...
We don't have enough time to make Daniel Bryan that evil. Not a week. We don't have enough time. So literally, if, and again, this is all based on Las Vegas pro wrestling betting odds, which sounds like the biggest scam the Mafia ever pulled on the world. But if that's going to happen, we're having a hypothetical conversation based on the fact that this might happen. This has to start with Daniel Bryan shockingly winning the Royal Rumble by being the number 30 he never got to be. But because between Bill Goldberg last year and Daniel Bryan this year, I'm convinced we're going on some sort of weird righting wrongs tour. Hogan's coming back next year, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, isn't that
Cody? That's the one we hitched our wagon
Cody,
to.
great. The 2019 Royal Rumble winner that I've been telling you is going to happen for 6 months. Fantastic.
Yeah, that's the one we hitched our wagon to.
Right, he's the man. But honestly, that's what it would have to be.
Yeah.
Now we can plant some additional tension on Tuesday to make it make a little more sense why Daniel Bryan's the shocking number 30 man in the Royal Rumble.
Right.
However, we can't declare it. We can't declare it.
Well, no,
because we can't build to a moment in one show.
Not
worthy
because
of it.
It has to be. We have to have the continuation of AJ Styles being pissy at Daniel Bryan, and then Daniel Bryan
he
AJ,
has to beat them.
This is literally how the order of events that needs to happen. We need to have AJ Styles be pissy on Tuesday, like, Daniel, you're terrible, you're awful, I hate you, you're the worst.
Yep.
Then what we need to have is at the Royal Rumble, AJ wins. Then we have another backstage segment where the Daniel Bryan goes face to face with AJ Styles. AJ Styles goes, ha ha, nanny nanny boo boo.
Right.
There, you tried to screw me. There's nothing you can do.
And Bryan's 30.
And then Bryan's 30 and he wins. And now it's shock among shocks. That's the way that has to play out logically if we're having any sort of story.
But here's the thing: that as much as that came in a package you weren't expecting from the planet Neptune,
right?
That's also not a stupid thing you just said, or anything that I would throw into the classification of impossible. Like, if for some reason WWE just decided to go from 0 to pizza in 60 seconds with Daniel Bryan, and they went, you know what, man? Everybody keeps bitching about one more match. Let's just do it. And the best opponent we could give you, AJ. And if it sucks, it's on you, and maybe you'll finally shut up about it. You know what I mean? And maybe we're doing it because you know me, I passionately didn't see Randy Orton winning the Royal Rumble so he could challenge world champion Bray Wyatt coming. I just believed that sounded like the most illogical thing I had read on the internet in quite some time. And then step by step I was proven completely wrong and it happened. So I am in what the point I'm making is I have learned my lesson. That's something that could if you said that what we're going to do at WrestleMania is we're going to have Hulk Hogan take on Braun Strowman. It's like, guys, we're not. Okay, we're not. That's not this. This could happen. This is crazy, but not crazy in an undoable way. The only reason this is crazy, and this almost is sad to say, the only reason this sounds so crazy is because we don't have that kind of fun in the WWE. Yeah. We don't have Daniel Bryan makes a shocking return, wins the Royal Rumble, takes on AJ Styles in the match you never thought you'd get in a million years at WrestleMania. That's not the God help me, because I like the company. I watch it every week, so I must enjoy it, right? That's not the kind of fun we have here.
Yeah.
That's New Japan fun. That's Ring of Honor fun. We don't do that here. Right. And now Daniel Bryan might win the Royal Rumble, and I hate this because now I'm starting to talk myself into it making the most sense.
Well,
because the odds-on favorite before this, everybody was saying that the guy that's going to win is Shinsuke Nakamura, and you know me, the whole time I've been like, look, I hope Nakamura wins. I want to see Nakamura and Styles versus as bad as anybody. But does Shinsuke Nakamura in real life look like he's about to win the Royal Rumble?
Yeah, he wasn't even on SmackDown last week.
To me, it would be quite the leap, and maybe I'm supposed to think that, and maybe when Nakamura wins, it's supposed to be like, oh, they do know how to use him. Maybe, but what a leap it would take from where he is to main eventing WrestleMania.
Well, you just said that. 2 days ago, Daniel Bryan had the same chances of winning the Royal Rumble as CM Punk, The Undertaker, and NXT superstar Killian Dane.
Wow.
And now yesterday...
Killian Dane pulling in the same odds as the Dead Man, huh?
Yeah, huh?
I mean, Punk I get, but the Dead Man.
Yeah, huh?
Wow.
And now he has the same odds to win it as Roman Reigns and Shinsuke Nakamura, which is insane because...
What happened? Somebody spilled the beans.
Somebody had to say something. Yep. Somebody had to say something.
Wow.
Which is insane.
And then you can bet on pro
The
wrestling.
worst part is that I hope somebody didn't say something that has the influencing power, but doesn't know anything.
Or I hope this isn't some weird evil game where they leaked bad info to get your hopes up one more time. Because part of me is convinced that one of Triple H's favorite things to do is to mess with people regarding Daniel Bryan. I think he loves it. And it might be an oldie but a goodie. But if one more time I can get you to, you know what I mean, to do that. Because then, hear me out. What if they hate Nakamura so much that they want you to boo when he wins the Royal Rumble? So you wanted Daniel Bryan all night. And you don't get it. I'm kidding. But the crazy thing...
I just hope...
But the crazy thing here is, real quick, is now Daniel Bryan actually sounds like it kind of makes a little bit more sense than Shinsuke Nakamura.
Right. Right. Well, again, he logically makes more sense because he has been involved in the WWE title picture for the past 2 months.
Right, and AJ specifically.
And AJ specifically. And so there's friction between those two. And that's
Could you imagine?
That's where we're at, right?
What's the balance? It Shane's the ref or something?
It has to be.
What's the balance?
I don't know.
What do we just do?
There's a little bit of shock that this is even on the table. I can't
believe we're talking about
this. I hope that whatever is wrong, because I don't know what technically is medically wrong with Daniel Bryan, right? But he
has Hip Hop Anonymous.
Yeah, sure. What I hope is that he has the same type of issue that Shawn Michaels had, where it's like, look, you retired, and it was over, and you were done, but then you took 4 years off, and then you came back, and you actually had a better run the latter half. And so look,
I hope so too, man.
Maybe, I don't know, again, I have no idea what Daniel Bryan has.
Nor do I.
But maybe this is one of those situations where it's like, look, you needed 2 years off. You needed it.
Yep.
You needed 2. You've been crashing into a wall for 15 years, and your body just said enough. So you healed up for 2 years, and now, maybe we don't use you as often. Maybe you're now a part-time guy wrestling at SummerSlam, wrestling at WrestleMania, wrestling at the Royal Rumble.
Yep.
And maybe now you're okay enough to do that.
And you know, there is something to be said, right, for the fact that at WrestleMania, Chris Jericho's booked with Fozzy. He's not there. He won't be part of WrestleMania 34.
Right. Well, and then the big thing, too, is maybe Daniel Bryan wasn't on the table. Maybe Daniel Bryan isn't the plan. Maybe Daniel Bryan is no. But Daniel Bryan is also, I feel, a break glass in case of emergency guy, because every doctor in the world, except for the WWE ones, seems like they would clear Daniel Bryan. So Chris Jericho goes and sets the flippin' wrestling world on fire.
That's my point.
By going to New Japan, and everybody's talking about it. And now if all of a sudden, out of the atmosphere, here comes Daniel Bryan, wins the Royal Rumble, and is going to main event WrestleMania, holy God.
That's your tit for tat. That's exactly what I was just going to say. Vince McMahon forbids you to talk about wrestling on the internet unless it's his wrestling. That's just how this goes. Kenny Omega wins the first ever United States Championship in IWGP history in North America, and AJ Styles wins a dark show match at Madison Square Garden, because I'll tell you which United States Championship you're going to talk about tonight.
Right.
And so there is absolutely something to be said where it's just like, look, you think you can have a megastar drop out of thin air and be part of your biggest show and everybody talking about it? I can have a megastar drop out of thin air, have it be part of my biggest show, and have everybody talk about it. And I'm Vince McMahon, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm not telling you that any one particular thing is the reason this might happen, but Jericho going, again, because Chris Jericho is so influential in the business and one of the greatest ever, Chris Jericho is going to be the reason we get Daniel Bryan back. That because Vince McMahon cannot, for the life of him, have the biggest return, big moment, what are you doing here, guy, not be his show. His show. And that is an on-the-table thing. Now, watch Randy Orton win back-to-back Rumbles, and all this was a stupid conversation, right, because Daniel Bryan wasn't even in it. Maybe. But at the same time, it feels like if the betting odds having swung this much, it's either conscious bad information or he is at the very least in the thing.
Right.
At the very least, it sounds like he's in the thing, which is huge, because I agree with you that it's like, look, you're not going to see him often, but if we need to bust him out for the big stuff, holy, you know what I mean? Like a very Brockish schedule.
He is
even lighter.
He is the most over true baby face that you have.
Right. Is that dangerous? Does he beat AJ Styles?
It's insane because
he doesn't, right?
Well, I've said this on this show before. And I still stick by it, where they consciously don't put him in these situations because this is the yes movement guy, right?
Yeah, they don't want to start it again.
It will kick up because, like I said, he is the most over babyface that they have.
Yeah.
He just happens to play the general manager on this show, but he is the most popular guy that they want you to like.
No argument.
And so having him now all of a sudden, he's in the Royal Rumble. He wins the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Holy shit, we're doing this.
The only thing I can think that they believe is, because you're right, it'll be an overwhelming, oh my God, especially if they have months to hype themselves up. If he wins this thing in January and they have until late March, early April to get excited about it, there'll be a frenzy. And I think with WWE, again, this might not even happen, but if it does, what WWE might be believing is the only thing, literally the only guy we have that might be able to smother this a little bit is AJ.
Right.
That the only guy
and the match will be so good.
Well, there's that, but I'm just talking about the only guy that might prevent it from taking over the show is Styles, and the fact that there might be some legitimate people that prefer Styles in that crowd. I believe there will be.
Yeah, there will be.
And also the fact that I think Styles in this scenario would win, And so for it not to be a chorus of boos on AJ Styles, which I don't believe they'll want to be the reaction, again, AJ will get his share of pops.
Well, it'll be a both these guys type of situation. It's not going to be. It's not going to be one guy's cheered, one guy's booed. It's going to be both these guys.
I agree. It's just that Daniel Bryan tends to come with that prepackaged loudness that makes the other guy feel like the heel. And I think they know the only way, if they're trying to at least split the crowd, the only way they can come close is AJ Styles, which is a smart decision.
What if he only wins championships inside the Mercedes-Benz Superdome?
Maybe that's what it is. Hogan loses Manias at the Skydome, and Daniel Bryan is just the master of the Silverdome. That's just how this
Superdome.
At the Silverdome.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan taught me. That's just how this whole thing shakes out. We are going to be talking about big moments as well. The Raw 25 moments. The next Monday Night Raw is the 25th anniversary of the longest running episodic show.
Weekly
blah, 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 blah,
blah, blah.
And we'll be talking about the list. WWE is a fan-voted list of what the top 5 moments were from
Thank God it wasn't Roman Reigns winning the title.
I know. For Monday Night Raw, we'll be talking about the number 2 moment specifically, which was CM Punk's pipe bomb. We'll be talking about the fact that they included it, they didn't shy away from it, how big a moment it is, was it properly placed on the list, and how we feel about CM Punk now that there's been 4 crazy 4 years to reflect on CM Punk being gone from the company. We'll talk all about Raw 25, the top moments, CM Punk, and whether or not we think he's coming back and why on Patreon. Patreon.com, New Age Insiders. There's links. It's pinned to the top of our Twitter page. If you go to our Twitter, there's a link right there. It's pinned there. It's not going anywhere. You can hear the show. You can hear the backlog episodes. There's a Follow Friday involved. There's the Raw, SmackDown, and pay-per-view bonuses involved. 5 exclusive shows, including one that you directly shape that people are loving. The latest edition of Be Heard is up there. People are having a great time. They've got a lot of positive feedback on it. Your support goes a long way to make sure we can afford the mics and the cameras and the background and the lights and the big group meetings and these big plans that we have. People are saying all the time, I wish you guys would do more and I wish you guys would do this. We want to, and we need the support to get there so we can really redesign and recreate the greatest pro wrestling fan experience possible, especially a community-driven experience, which we really think we're close to nailing, and we just need your help.
And if you can't, if you don't want to support on Patreon because a monthly commitment is a little too much, feel free to get the bits here on Twitch. If you're watching it live on Twitch, you can get the bits and cheer, and that money goes to us. You can subscribe to us, and so it's cheaper than the Patreon, but it still goes to us. It still supports us, as well as you can use it if you have Prime. If you have Amazon Prime, you can subscribe to this channel for free with one membership of Amazon Prime. So
there you go. And we'll get that, and Amazon has to pay. And doesn't that make everybody feel good? And then you'll have Amazon Prime, which is a pretty awesome thing. Again, we are on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/New Age Insiders Pop. Make sure you subscribe and like and comment on iTunes, Podomatic, Glork Normal, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play. If there's any other platforms that you guys are on, please let us know, and we'll jump in on those as well. We're at YouTube/New Age Insiders. It's going to be a lot of content coming this year. We are really all in full throttle in the year 2018, including going to the Royal Rumble in just over a week or so, which we're super excited about. If you're going, please let us know. If you want
where we are.
If you want the merch, and nothing makes me happier than when I pick up Callie and see Conman and Lexi and TK, and they're all wearing the New Age Insider sweatshirts.
Pretty awesome.
And it's a pretty awesome feeling. Again, big shout out to Todd for getting his New Age Insider sweatshirt in the mail. Thank you so much, man. That really does mean a ton to us. You can go to represent.com/New Age Insiders. The Rumble gear is up there. The vintage gear is up there. The Mania gear is up there. There's all sorts of new stuff coming as well. But if you want to match us and support and be comfortable and warm this winter, please go to, and there's also t-shirts and stuff too. So no matter where you live, it's awesome if you go to represent.com/New Age Insiders. Again, your support goes a long way. We're really optimistic about the year, and that's because we have such amazingly awesome people like you. So jump on in, join the party, and be part of the future of what pro wrestling fan coverage can be. We are off to record the Patreon show, and we'll see you all very soon. Thank you again for joining us. My name is Jason Malta.
Hi, I'm Liam Striker.
And I'm Bill Neville.
We're the New Age Insiders. You can find us on Twitter. Please do. We are at New Age Insiders, at Liam NAI, at Bill Neville NAI. The website getting redesigned for the run to Mania, newageinsiders.com. You can subscribe to New Age Insiders Wrestling, again, on all those audio platforms. We feature daily content, New Age Pop on iTunes and all of those platforms, including Spotify and Google Play, all of those platforms, so you can listen to Be Nerd and all of the general entertainment content that we offer you as well. A big year is coming, a big Rumble is coming, and we are very, very excited to be the premier place for wrestling fans to connect, discuss, and to be heard.
We out.